sorry, common objects, people, body parts, or pictures. That can be reinforcing or not reinforcing. Okay, then jump to level 2, 6M. Tax 25 items when asked, what is that? Any 25. 7M generalizes tax across 3 examples of 50, all right, this is the key one.
Yes.
Generalizes tax across 3 examples of 50 items tested from a list or of known generalizations. So that means, like, say the example is car. In 3 different sets of 50 cards, you're showing 3 different cars throughout that. So a red car, a sports car, a blue car. And I don't think bus. I think it would have to be car, right?
Anything that you would call a car.
Right. You wouldn't call a bus a car.
Yes.
So you show in 3 different sets, right? 3 different times. You're showing 5, and if they don't say any of the other 147 words, as long as they say car 3 times,
They have 1. Yeah.
Right.
What you're looking for this skill is you make a list of 50 items common to their environment. I said, like, don't pick things like hippo. If the kid only has 50 words, they don't necessarily know what that is. So you're testing 50 items. If you're keeping a running list, you already have this information. But if you're not, you're going to pick 50 items to test, and you're going to show it to them. If I show this child a picture of a car, and they say car, that in and of itself does not mean they got 1 item for this skill. It means they have 1 example of 1 item. You need 3 examples of each item in order to master this. I pulled up the 240 word list that's available on the download page, and you'll see this is how it's set up. So under, it says tax, and the word over here is airplane, and it says picture 1, picture 2, picture 3. So after they can tax 3 different examples of an airplane, I put the date right here under tax, meaning they got that 3 examples of that 1 item.
So they have to get 50 items.
They have to get 50 items, yes. So what Petey was saying was, when you're doing this, if you're sitting down to do this, if you don't just have 50 cards, you actually have 150, because it's 3 items of each, 3 examples of each of the items. So that's where it gets. So one way to do it is 1 set of 50, another set of the 50, and another set of the 50 with all different examples. And then you have your sets already made, and you're good to go. Or you can assess car, 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 airplane, airplane, airplane. I would not suggest doing it that way, but if you want to organize it that way and then mix them up when you assess them, that's fine.
Can you break this up over many days?
Absolutely. You could do this over, I'm not sitting and doing 150 pictures in a row. This needs to be broken up over the child. Whatever the child's natural way to learn and be assessed is, do it that way. If they work for 15-minute increments, you might get through a few of these, a few imitation, a few something else, and you start writing and keeping your tally. If this is the way you're collecting data in your classroom, I don't need to sit down with the kid at all, and I would say, oh, they have 50 of them. They don't have 50. Done. So that's where I was talking about this. If you're doing it this way, it will help you keep track of that. But if you're sitting down to assess it, you should absolutely, if the child is functioning at an 18 to 30-month level, do not sit down with 150 pictures and present them 1 at a time. You will get
But then when you have to keep track of them not identifying the same car
Yes.
each time.
yes.
That they're actually saying,
Right.
that you're
So
spreading
if
it
you
over
have
time.
on the back of your pictures, example 1, example 2,
That's just
example 3, you're good.
over time. It could take 6 months, but you gotta make sure they hit 3 different cars,
Yes.
3 different something.
Yeah.
or
Maybe
other.
6 weeks.
6 weeks?
Yeah. 6 months, you're already assessing the next time.
The next time, yeah, 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Okay, that was 7. 8M, tax 10 actions when asked, for example, what am I doing? Jumping, sleeping, eating. It can also be, what's she doing? What's he doing? A picture, what's the boy doing? Right?
Yep.
Okay, that's 10. 10 actions. 9M, text 50 2-component verb-noun or noun-verb combinations tested from a list of known 2-component texts, like washing face, Joe swinging, baby sleeping. So
The reason it says known 2-component tax, and this is, when I say it, it makes complete sense, but if they don't know what a baby is, they can't do baby sleeping. If they don't know what a dog is, they can't label dog eating. So that's why it says you take their known 1-word tax, and now you make them 2-word tax. And that's what the child has to do. But like I said, it makes complete sense when I just said that. I was like, oh, of course. But you'd be surprised when you have a list, you have 50 pictures of 2 components, let me borrow it, and I sit down, we can't do this one, can't do this one, well, he doesn't know what a dog is, or a baby is, or whatever, it doesn't make sense for that kid, so you want to make sure it's tax that those child knows as 1 component tax, and now you make them 2 component. Baby sleeping, dog eating, girl swinging, whatever.
Do they have to be all different? Like, can it be girl eating and then 5 times later, girl drinking?
Yep, 2
Even
components.
though, okay, even though you're using
Yeah,
girl again.
you don't have that many examples.
Right, okay.
A teacher made a set of kids in the class, just 2 pictures of the kids doing stuff in the classroom, and that's about half of her cards, and that's fine. Did you have a question? Okay.
All right, 10M, tax a total of 200 nouns and or verbs or other parts of speech, tested from an accumulated list of known tax.
Yeah.
So 200, anything, red, jumping, right?
Yep, and in the manual, it says, a cumulative list of the child's known nouns and verbs can be used for this measure. For example, the 240-word list. So if you're keeping track of this, this is not saying that you are sitting down with the child to see if they know 200 pictures. This is saying you can look at your cumulative list and see how many they have, and then you're going to know if they have 200 or not.
Okay, level 3.
Level 3.
Now, this was the one that we wanted to refer to, that we didn't.
Okay,
So,
hold on.
all right, 11N, tax the color, shape, and function of 5 objects, 15 trials, when each object and question is presented in a mixed order. So you have 5 objects, and you're asking for each object, what's the color, what's the shape, what's the function? That makes the 15 trials, 5 times 3.
Yeah.
So if you have a refrigerator, a dog, well, you don't know the shape of the dog.
Yeah.
A refrigerator, a ball,
And a Valentine.
a book, a Valentine, right? So you're saying, what color is the ball? What shape is the refrigerator?
Yes.
What do you use a Valentine for? I don't know. And
Yeah.
then you go back, what
What
shape
do you
is
do
the
with a
ball?
Valentine? Yeah.
Right, what do you do? Right, and then you go back to what shape is the ball and what do you do with the ball?
Yeah, I'm going to read what the objective is, because obviously Mark Sumberg can explain it better than me, but the objective of this is to determine if the child can tax one of 3 different features or functions of a single object when asked to do so. It is important to mix the questions and objects, since many children can be successful if they are asked all color questions sequentially. So, if I were to say, what color is the ball? What color is the Valentine? What color is the whatever, the book? And I've done color, 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 color. A lot of children, they get on that color roll, and now I know how to categorize colors, red, blue, yellow. The reason that this is mixed is because it's going to model more closely what a child needs to be able to do in typical conversation, in typical question and answer, back and forth between speaker and listener. So you mix it up, you have 5 objects or pictures of objects. The child needs to be able to do the color, the shape, and the function, and you mix up your order of how you're asking those things. So it's not all the colors, all the sizes, all the shapes, and it's also not all 5 questions about the Valentine, but all 5 questions about the book. You mix and vary all of those things, which if you're working in this type of program, you are most likely doing as part of your instruction anyway, in order to better prepare them for that type of pace, a rapid pace of conversation. So that was a lengthy milestone there, but that's, in essence, that's what that means. And it gives you the points. And the half a point, just because it's interesting, half a point is not if they have all 5 for half the items. Half a point is if they have at least 2 from each item. Just in case you're curious what the half means. At least 2 from each item in a mixed word. Okay, go ahead.
12N, tax 4 different prepositions, in, out, on, or under, and 4 pronouns, I, you, me, mine. So that's ever, if you ever see them use 4 prepositions and 4 pronouns. 13M, tax 4 different adjectives, excluding color and shape, like big, little, long, and short, and 4 adverbs, fast, slow, quietly, general. So that's similar to 12. 14M, tax with complete sentences containing 4 or more words 20 times. So I assume that means that is all?
Yep.
Okay.
That's a big ice cream cone.
Okay.
Is the example in here. Where's your lunchbox?
So if they do that once, I think I read it right, they do that, you hear them do that once in October, you mark it down, and then
Yeah.
you hear them do it again in
Yeah.
December, you mark it down.
Yes, where's your lunchbox is a name for information, but it's also attached in it. They're labeling it. I see it. There's my mom is another example. Good, go ahead. And 15.
Last one, 15M, has a tax vocabulary of 1,000 words, nouns, verbs, adjectives, etc. tested from an accumulated list of known texts.
Yes. And the way you're gonna get to 1,000 is if you are keeping track of this child's program for a very long time. And we've gotten there, but we had not in 3 years we didn't get there, but we got there based on they knew 500 from before, and now we do this and we add it all together. No one is sitting with 1,000 pictures to test this kid's tax. Okay, so for tacting, this part, you didn't know this question was coming, and now the rest of you will, so this is your, was there anything that stood out that you were surprised by? What were your observations about the different levels or the skills?
I was surprised at the level 3, pretty nice functioning abilities.
Yeah.
For a 4-year-old.
Yes. Good. Okay. Here's your prize, lady. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's do one more before we break for lunch. Could we do one more? And it's going to be, did anyone do listener responding? Okay, listener responding.
All right, hold on, I need to adjust.
Okay. Okay, good. Tell us now.
We went from 2 to 6 items. There was no 3, there was no 4.
Yes.
And also, like, now we're in a messy array.
Instead of, yes.
7N, general license, listener discrimination, in a messy array of 8 for 3 different examples of 50 items. And the child find 3 examples of a training. So you might use the clues, you might use the
And I'm going to jump in for 1 second. When you just said that listener responding 7M, when you're planning programmatically, can correlate with your, over here, tacting 3 examples of 50 different items. You can use the same list, and you're testing 3 examples of 50 items receptively and expressively, as a tact and as a listener responding.
8N performs 10 specific motor actions on command, showing clapping, 9N follows 50, 2 component noun, verb, or verb noun instructions. Show me the baby sleeping, push the swing. 10N selects the correct item in a book, picture, or scene, or natural environment when named for 250 items tested or from an array of accumulated list of known words. So now you have like a reading the story and recording, showing the ball, the baby.
I don't know if everybody picked up, but that's another one. Listener responding, 9M, 10M correlate with what they set up here for tacting.
Do you have that anywhere?
Yeah,
Written?
yes. We have we did a list, I don't have 250, but I have 50, 50, 50, like that. But we have a list that's bigger than what we need because it doesn't always make sense for each kid.
Right.
So, yeah. Yes.
All right, level 3 is 11N selects items by color and shape from an array of 6 similar stimuli, 4 colors and 4 shapes, like find a red card, show me the square cracker. 12N follows 2 instructions involving 6 different prepositions. Stand behind the chair, put it under your chair, put it in your tummy, and 4 different pronouns. Touch my ear. N13 selects items from an array of similar stimuli
is a lot of consistency between these two areas that we just talked about, the TAC and the listener responding. Instructionally, if you are planning, you should plan those things to be together. If you need to know 6 prepositions respectively, those would be the same prepositions that I'm attacking. That's how a child, we talked about typical kids, that's how they learn. They learn a word, they know what it means globally. So you want to make sure that you're making good instructional decisions, that you're not, the child doesn't sit with Pam and they do 4 prepositions and then, oh, the bell rings and now it's time for me to go work with Darcy and now I'm doing 4 different prepositions respectively. That makes no sense. In the same token, I don't want to be working on 4 prepositions in my classroom and then they go to speech and she's teaching them 4 different prepositions and then we sit next to each other in an IP meeting and say that they have 4. Oh, you have 4 too? Oh, I guess that's 8. I didn't even know that. So that's where we want to make those good decisions and programming together. So anything else that stood out for that category for you guys?
It's pretty much those 2 things. So we said how the messy array became really, really important and how quickly we jumped from like 2 to 6.
Yeah. And yeah, I was surprised by that too. The messy array is very different.
Yeah.
Instead of, because your instinct as a teacher is to put down 3 pictures in a row or 6 pictures, 3 and 3.
Life is messy.
And all of a sudden you just start doing this. And that's really how they have to learn it in real life in their natural environment. So anything, just because I'm going to pick on this this that from your perspective, did it seem what you thought, what you more than you?
Well, I think the point that you raised right there, I think it's so important for the speech therapist to be able to collaborate with the classroom teacher so that you're on the same page and you're teaching the same things.
Yes.
Even when it comes to for teaching a series of animals, you should be teaching the same animal pictures, but it would be good to be teaching maybe different animal pictures.
That's a wonderful
Because
way
then
to
we're
get your 3
generalizing.
examples. You
Right.
have a different set of pictures
Right.
than you have.
But the expectations should be
Yes.
the same between the therapist and the student.
So wouldn't it be wonderful if the speech therapist came to pick up a child for speech and you could hand off this list and say, I know all, picture number 2 or all of you